Hey guys, Daniel Gallan here at the Wanderers after 4 days of, well, the scoreline will say it was lopsided, but it was enthralling 4 days of Test cricket. South Africa bowled out for 274. England claim a 191-run victory and claim the series 3-1 with it. I'm here with CricBuzz South African correspondent Telford Vice. Telford, those scorelines probably a fair reflection on the gulf between the two sides?
I think so, and if you look at the way the series has been going, South Africa probably winning obviously in the first test, and then they've gone steadily backwards from there, and they deserve this. I'm afraid they haven't played well enough, they haven't been led well enough, and this is a fair reflection. This is how it works. You know, you don't Test cricket often doesn't. The results don't come by accident, and margins aren't by accident. They are. You get what you deserve, and I think that's what's happened.
Like me, you've been a journalist who's been singing the praises of Faf du Plessis for some time. I think you are of the opinion that he's potentially, or it's arguably, one of the best captains South Africa's ever had, if not the best captain South Africa's ever had. He was poor today, not today, in this match with the captaincy. When Wood and Broad were going ballistic, there were 8 fielders in the boundary. That just looked like a captain had given up. How do you rate Faf du Plessis' captaincy over the series, and where does he stand in the pantheon of South African skippers?
I still think he's the best captain South Africa have ever had. He did not do well in that partnership, and he tried to explain it badly in his press conference just a few minutes ago by saying, well, you know, when England was smacking the ball, or when South Africa was smacking the ball all around it at St George's Park, nobody said Joe Root's a bad captain. Right. The difference is England knew they were going to win that game. South Africa
and to be fair, people did criticise Joe Root's captaincy. They were like, what is he doing? He's letting this get away from him.
Exactly, so that was a bad analogy, but I'll cut him some slack. I still think he's been a fine captain. He's good at all parts of the job, and that includes talking to the media, mostly, and I think that does colour reporters' vision. You know, he could be a terrible captain on the field, but if he talks to us nicely, then we'll like him. But you know, he's articulate, he does all the right things a lot of the time, and he leads by example, like he did today. A really gritty knock. Okay, didn't get there in the end, but yeah, he's obviously reaching the end in all forms as a captain. It'll be interesting to see what he does from here. Does he really want to go to the West Indies for 2 tests as the captain in July? That's their next test engagement. So it's going to be interesting to see where it goes from here. Also, who replaces him? You know, Quinton de Kock, fine, maybe he can handle the one-day captaincy right now, but can he do test captaincy as well and be a major batsman and keep wicket and put up with the likes of us and keep it all together? I'm not so sure. So it's going to be a very interesting discussion to see where they go from here for a new test captain particularly.
Faf said that he was let down by his bowlers, and let's be fair, he was let down by his batters as well, himself included, but let's ignore the runs that he should have made. Other senior batters let him down, senior bowlers let him down. They were far too short in the opening innings here against England. Does he just not have a very good team at his disposal?
I think he has a team that's very much in a rebuilding phase, and it doesn't help that people like Dean Elgar keep playing outrageous shots to get out. He played 2 awful shots in this match. I'm sure, I don't care if he minds me saying so, but
he'll know
that there were terrible shots. So, you know, if you're in a rebuilding phase like they are, and your senior players are playing poorly, that's a recipe for disaster. And I think that what is going on with South Africa right now. On the other hand, some of the youngsters, well, not quite youngsters, but more inexperienced people that have made their debuts recently, have actually come to the party. So it actually looks good from that point of view. If the seniors were you know, pulling their weight, we may have been looking at a very different series.
One senior player who's no longer with us now, Vernon Philander, has retired after this match. You thanked him, which was such a touching moment in the presser now. How would you sum up his career? I mean, we've read your work and we know what you think of him. You know, people know what I think of him, but just briefly, how would you summarize such a legend of the game who was so hard to quantify at times?
He's just a real person, you know, and that's the wonderful thing. After he took a fifer to take South Africa to the top of the Test rankings at Lords in 2012, he was asked, well, you know, you came here, and some of the English press and a lot of English people were saying, who's this, you know, he's a club trundler. What's he doing playing Test cricket? And he had one line, it was, the stats don't lie. And, you know, just things like that, where often Vernon kind of hides behind trigger words like obviously, you know, and you get nothing out of him. But when you kind of cut through whatever, you get the truth. And I think, you know, from a human point of view, it's been wonderful writing about him. And from a skills point of view, you know, I'm truly worried about where we're going to see the next South African bowler who isn't just trying to blast people out of there, who does understand the importance of landing next to the stumps and moving the ball a centimetre. It doesn't have to be a great pace. Where is that oak? I haven't seen him around. So I think that is a worry. And as Graham Smith was saying the other day, it's going to be important to keep Vernon in the system. in the coaching system. I think he said something about wanting to be a mentor, but I think he can probably be more than that.
Yeah.
You know, so let's see. I'm really going to miss him. He's just such a different kind of South African bowler, and I'm going to miss that.
A different kind of South African in many ways.
Yeah.
Just a nod to the future. Graham Smith, Jacques Kallis, Mark Boucher, the boys are back. Does that work in 2020 as we move forward, where transformation is more important, where social media and the young players on Twitter and Instagram, where the subtleties of speaking to the press are different to when they were, you know, using a hammer to kind of knock down the rest of the world? Are you confident that these guys can understand that the shifting times, or are they bringing kind of a bigger tool than they need right now?
Well, it's been interesting. I'm ambivalent, to be honest, because there's nobody I can think of who's better qualified.
Right. Yeah.
But also, the game has changed since they played it. They've admitted as much. Mark Boucher has said so. You know, we could say just about anything to each other on the field and nobody gave a damn.
Yeah.
So those kinds of things.
Yes.
And just because you were very good players doesn't mean you're going to be very good at anything else in the game. You know, so
or anything else.
Or anything else. So they've got to prove themselves. They haven't done it. All those people who thought that just because we put, you know, 3 big white guys up there, now we're going to be fine.
Yeah.
I think they need to go and take a good long look at themselves and say, maybe it's not that simple. So yeah, there's a long way to go from here. They've got a lot of hard work to do, and they need to be just a little smarter about how they bring across what they are doing. Don't tell us you don't know the rules, Bouch. Graham, don't tell us that I haven't got a grip on my job yet. That's not good enough. Even if it's true, you're going to have to find something else to say. And just to reassure people more. So perhaps this series result is actually a good thing, because now those cracks are not papered over, now they're chasms, and you've got to look down them and find something at the bottom to close them all up again.
Well, I couldn't say it better than that. I'll leave it at that. Guys, we'll catch you the next one.